Finally, I think the third or fourth time, I go up to Air, and they say, yeah, go in there and jam with Paul. So I said, just me and him? So I said, yeah, it'd be great. So I go with my 4001 Rick, and I'm jamming with Paul Thompson, just bass and drums for about 20 minutes. On the other side of the glass is the rest of the band, and Ferry, Andy McKay, Phil Manzanero, and Chris Thomas, who produced Sex Pistols, Pretenders, engineered the White Album, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm trying not to look past the glass. I'm really nervous. I've nailed every Roxy song from the first two records. So I was hoping we'd all play those. Instead, I'm jamming with the drummer. And the next thing I know, I walk in, they said, okay, great, go to the office tomorrow and, talk money and per diems and get some budget for clothes, get some clothes for the tour, this, that, and the other thing. I got the gig.
Wow.
Yeah.
And at what point did the tour start? Did you start playing live with them?
That was another amazing thing. We rehearsed. Phil Manzanero taught me the songs, the new songs. At the time, it was stranded. So whatever he had that was done, the rough mixes on a Revox, we went in a rehearsal room and he'd run the Revox and he'd show me on the guitar the changes and this and that. So that's the way I learned the stranded songs. I had already nailed the first two albums. So I had the whole thing. So we go to rehearse, and basically the rehearsals are me, Andy, Phil, and Paul, and Brian never showed up to the rehearsals. And I think Andy might have showed up to one, and once Andy got wind that Brian wasn't showing up, he didn't show up. So it was kind of a one-upmanship thing, because at the time, Andy was probably the most pissed off that Eno wasn't in the band anymore. He was threatening to join Mott the Hoople. He had played on all the way from Memphis, So it was a stormy period for them.
And Brian Ferry had started his solo career at that point.
No, this is just before.
Okay.
This is just before. So anyway, so we rehearse as a four-piece, and we go and do a gig. First gig, and I'm a kid from Little Italy who all his life wants to be in a British band. So here I am in the biggest British band at the time.
Yeah.
Right? Huge. We're playing in front of 8,000 people, first gig at a festival. Okay, and the support bands, the list of the support bands was probably every band that I loved and had their records, and we're headlining, and I'm like, wow, and I had no idea what monitors were. I had never played through an amp that size. I mean, I didn't know anything. I was as green as could be. It was learn as you go, learn on the fly, which is what I did. And I remember the first gig not being very good. And then I remember going backstage and we're all kind of quiet, and Brian Ferry looking at all of us and said, well, at least we're still the best looking band in the country.